We're in North West Bali, which is sort of relatively undiscovered part of Bali. It's not like polluted by tourism, it's still pure. It's like got amazing nature. It's the best diving, snorkeling spot in Bali, maybe one of the best in Indonesia. And when we discovered this spot, Sumberkima Hill, we were just blown away by it. We just couldn't understand why nobody else had done anything here. Because the situation of this location, where we have like a ridge coming out of the hill that creates 360 views towards each direction, and each direction by itself is amazing. It's really worth spending a couple of days just enjoying that view. And what we're trying to do here is create something that is really beautiful, really impressive. We have villas that are a destination by itself, worth visiting. But also we've seen a lot of things happening in Bali the past 20 years, where parts that were nice 20 years ago lost their charm. And what we want to do here is create something that is nice now, but it'll also still nice in 20 years time or 30 years time. So each villa we pay a lot of attention in making that really attractive. And also what we want to do is make sure the environment stays attractive. So we have close cooperation with the village, where we do some parts where we do reforestation, where we try to keep the hill green, because it's the dry part of Bali, where in dry season things can be dry. And also one of the most important projects that we have is in the bay, where there is a potentially very interesting reef, but it needs attention. And there we established an NGO called Metamorphosa. And that NGO wants to regenerate the reef, but not just looking at the reef, also look at all the things around it. Making sure we provide the right conditions for coral to grow, so also purify the water. That can be done with crops like seaweed or sea cucumbers, scallops. But by growing that also provides jobs, income for the villagers. So you create more of a system where things are balanced. Because if the local villagers don't have jobs, don't have income, they don't support it. So all these things are important to have balanced and make that work. So what can people do when they're here? I think point number one, the villas are I think one of the most interesting in Bali that you can choose from. Then there's a lot of culture around here. Some of the major temples in Bali are here. This is the place where Hinduism started in Bali. We have mountains, we're close to the Bernard National Park. The sea, the shoreline is very interesting. We have Pemutaran with the Bio Rock project, reef restoration. We have Menjigan Island, part of the national park, which is dive, snorkel, Walhalla almost. And then we have our own bay, where we have a white sand island, which is also unique in Bali. We have mangrove shorelines, where you can do canoe trips. You can go to the island, you can go snorkeling. So a lot of different things to do. But all these things you do, you still have the feeling you are in this undiscovered part of Bali. It's not millions of tourists around them. This is not the place for people who want to have a nightlife and bars and drinks and stuff like that. But if you want to enjoy nature, if you want to do yoga, if you want to have a healthy lifestyle, this is the place to go.